What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Comedy Pop-Up Podcast. This is going to be a very special episode. It's our compilation episode. We're going to show you some of the funniest and favorite moments from the podcast over the past year. And first off, we just want to thank you guys. We want to thank all the listeners for supporting, everybody who's left a review, everybody who's rated us, everybody who's shared us on social media. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You guys are the reason why we had a very successful first calendar year, 2018. That was our first calendar year, not only for the podcast, but also for the podcast network. And we just want to say thank you to you, the listeners. And also, I want to send a thank you to everybody who's been a guest on the show, everybody who's guest hosted the show, everybody who's done one of our green room shows. Thank you, thank you, thank you for being a part of this podcast and really giving you a different perspective. Like Ron G says, there's no small talk in here. I mean, some of our last episodes, we literally talked about God and tree energy. So please check out our website. Please check out our past episodes, our archive. And I challenge you guys, please share the podcast with a family member, with a friend. Show them this episode. This episode is going to have some of our favorite moments. And honestly, there were some great moments. There were some moments where legitimately, whether I was guest hosting or chilling in the corner being the audio engineer, hearing it live, I mean, you realize why these people are professionals, because everybody who we've had on the show has been so talented. We don't have any bums on this show. No bums allowed. There's plenty of bums in Koreatown, but there's been no bums on this show. So please support all the comics you've heard on this show. Please, I also want to give a thank you to Nick, who is the CEO of Comedy Pop-Up, for really making this happen. You know, this was his idea to start a network. When he first told me, hey, let's start a podcast network, I looked at him and I never thought he was serious. I thought he was, you know, Nick's not a comic, but I thought he was telling a joke. It actually took off a lot faster than I thought it was going to take off. So thank you, thank you, thank you to everybody who's been involved with the Comedy Pop-Up Podcast. Shout out to Alex, shout out to Zeke, shout out to all of the people who have put in hours at Comedy Pop-Up. This is the first year of many years. So stay tuned. Stay tuned for more shows. Stay tuned for bigger guests. Stay tuned for the best possible content that we could put out there. Our next live show is January 15th at the Haha Cafe in Hollywood. If you've never been to a Comedy Pop-Up live show, what are you doing? We provide some of the best lineups in LA, and we have to compete with the Store, the Improv. Don't go to them. That's corporate. Come check out a Comedy Pop-Up show. And the Haha Cafe is legitimately one of my favorite venues. And the lineup for that show is amazing. And I'm not going to tell you the lineup. I want you to check out the lineup, because the website you can go to, as always, for live shows, for the lineup, for tickets, comedypopup.la.com. All right, guys, let's start the show.
But I live really far away.
Now, how often do you call?
I talk to my parents like every other day.
Well, I call like every 4 months.
Yeah, really?
Yeah,
Do you hate your parents?
No, they're great. They're great.
That's normal?
Like, I don't know.
I know
a couple of months, but
yeah, I know you said you and Pops, y'all doing y'all thing, but
I think it's the same. A couple of months in between, like when
Oh my God.
And it's true, when you move out, you don't really use. Okay, imagine I just heard myself phrase it. You don't really use your parents. She can come clean once in a while when you're
Oh my God, really?
18 and you're moving out. Well, it's just not really.
Yeah.
that is so crazy.
Yeah, it's way more.
We still love each other and we see each other in Christmas.
But what about when they're getting older and you missing out on life and stuff like that's not a thing? You like they just get old and die and you're like, oh cool, well, she had a good run. Is that what happens?
Yeah, I guess, yeah.
What?
Yeah. That is so crazy. I talk to my mom every other day and we like have a good time on the phone. You know, my dad too. Like my dad's just a firecracker and talks about.
In Denmark, you'd be a mama's boy.
But I actually love my parents. Like it's just
I love my parents.
I have great parents.
I have great.
But you love them, but you talk to them once a year. Like how's that love? I don't get it. Stuff happens.
Well, if something's wrong, I'll talk to them.
Yeah, but if something is wrong and you say to them, then they'll worry.
Yeah.
Like why make old people worry? That's mean.
Okay.
My chest hurt. Why make old people worry? That's me.
You ask me, everybody is always asking me, what kind of tribe are you? And I'm like, oh, long story, but we'll just go here.
It's a very long story.
It is.
I'm Ashkenazi.
Are you Ashkenazi tribe?
Yeah. Seriously.
We are technically in the same tribe, but I don't recognize you as a Jew. No. If I have to walk around with this face and be a Jew, you don't get to walk around with that face, that Aryan, blue-eyed, like oppressive face, and I have to have like a mustache and eyebrows that touch and the sweatiness and anxiety. It's not fair.
I have back hair.
Okay, it works.
Okay.
So do I.
Well, when we first met, you were sleeping on the couch. Are you still on the couch? You're allowed to?
No,
are you in the
I'm
bedroom
not.
again?
When we first met,
when me and you first met in New York, you were sleeping on the fucking couch, and you didn't even know if you're gonna have a wife.
We've had some ups and downs.
Yeah, just putting it lightly. So where are you at now? An up or a down?
I'm on the bunk bed.
You're on a bunk bed.
No, I'm kidding. No, she's out here with me, my lovely bro. Now listen, I'm not easy to get along with, and I'll admit
No, stop it.
I hang my hat on that now.
Esther's already.
People don't like me.
Esther's already.
I love
I
you.
like you actually. This is
We
this is
love
the irony.
you.
It's weird. This is why I said it was like a hate, love, hate podcast because Esther loves you. I got a lot of love for you.
A lot of love.
We hate each other.
It's in my pants.
And then
I got a lot of love.
How do you feel about Esther?
Whole lot
This
of
is what we really
love.
want to get to.
Bam.
At the risk of your wife listening to this podcast, how do you feel about Esther? You got a little soft spot for Esther?
Yes, he does.
You ever think you could be
No,
senpai?
Esther,
What do you think?
listen. Every time I, you run into a lot of Asian women on the subways and in New York City.
Yeah.
They all have that same fucking hideous laugh. Like I don't know what it is.
Oh,
I
her
don't
laugh
know.
is horrendous.
It's because we've been oppressed for centuries, and
then
finally
it's a laugh.
we're free.
No,
Yes.
you cover your mouth and you're like hee 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 hee. It's really.
I wanted to
it's
ask
too
actually,
much.
why do you sound like? Why do a lot of Asian ladies sound like they're crying when they're orgasming?
Because we are crying because we've
with
gone.
joy of being able to do it.
Well, just being able to like be free, and we were told it's from our repressed upbringing. Like we were
Yeah.
told to be quiet, don't be seen,
isn't it
be in the
fact that-
background.
Isn't it the fact that a lot of Asian countries infantize young women? Like they like them to be just 17, which is I think the legal age of consent over there. In
Yeah.
anime and shit, it's like she's still in schoolgirl outfit, and so it's like the more.
It's true.
You
They
can be.
they want their women to be quiet and submissive, and then I'm like an
Who
outspoken-
doesn't? Who doesn't?
That sounds like a perfect woman. Yeah. Doesn't everyone
Only
want
in
their
LA
partner?
where we're a bunch of cucks. I want my woman to be powerful.
How do you wait?
Everybody else is
wait,
like,
hang on a
shut
sec.
up.
You use listen. You use the word cuck a lot. That's like a young person word, man. I really mean to speak
Kevin's
to you about
cool.
that.
I'm
You didn't know this?
Chill the fuck out.
I'm like the
I'm
rock-
gonna take the word of the stone Asian racist over here. Chill out a second.
What?
She's a stone Asian racist. She smokes a lot of weed.
Oh,
And
I thought you
apparently
were
she's a
talking about me.
racist now. That's what the latest
Yeah.
thing is, right? You just upset a whole
I'm
load of
trying to
people.
get Kevin to smoke weed because
All right, let's-
it would actually help him a lot.
Yeah, I think you should
He's
smoke
very
weed too.
stressed
Take away
out.
the
Like
glaucoma.
you must get kidney stones all the time or something.
Yeah.
Do you?
I'm sitting on one right now. No, I don't. I'm stressed
help
out,
with
but there's
it?
nothing
Well,
I
hang
can
on a second,
do. Pot doesn't help me. Pot doesn't relax me.
Let's get into that. I don't know the story. I just saw something on Twitter. Apparently, you're a fucking racist now, right? What
yeah,
was this?
according to the New York Post.
Okay, tell me why the New York Post.
Because I tweeted
Thinks that
out,
you're
I
racist.
said, don't act like these self-driving cars aren't being made for us chinks. And this Asian guy wrote about it and was like, look at her. She's got these racially charged tweets.
I like that you're still going for that real highbrow comedy. I like.
Well,
you're
it
pushing
was
the
a
boundaries.
freaking tweet.
Yeah.
you know?
No, exactly.
So they came after me, and all
Sure.
these Asians, this group of Asians are mad.
Well, who came after you specifically?
This writer, Christian Golian, who writes for New York Post.
Okay.
But
Is he a
there-
chink?
Is he Chinese?
Yeah, he's Asian, but he must be like half.
Which
because
Asian
there's
is he? Is it-
I don't
'cause
know
there's a
what
lot of
kind
ra-
of Asian. Google him.
Because there's a lot of racism between.
I like how you dismiss
The
the
same
fucking
continent.
producer. Google him.
Google
like
him. He's sitting on his phone.
You're the fucking
Go on,
queen
all right,
of
so
Thailand.
This guy's upset because you used the word chink or because.
Because I'm making fun of
He doesn't
Asians, and
understand
they
humor?
said I'm a disgrace to Asians. Like she keeps making fun of her.
I mean, you
us.
are. You don't play piano.
I
You're
do
not
play
a doctor,
piano.
Really?
Yes.
I don't believe you.
Oh my God! I will show you.
I don't believe
We
you.
can go to my uncle's house after
I'm
this.
not
He has a
going to
piano. We're
any
gonna
of your
play the
family members'
piano.
houses.
You live with your uncle?
No.
Is he a white middle-aged man?
By the way, there is no camera on this podcast, so I'm going to point out that was air quotations
Oh.
from Kevin Brennan there.
Oh, you're so good.
All right, so back to my blind sidekick.
No, fuck you. I want to hear the friend
Thank
of the
you.
story. So what happened with your big racist story? Have you confronted this guy? You written a tweet to him?
I followed him on Twitter because I said, thanks for the press. This is great. This is the best thing that's happened
Why
to
was
me.
there a
Seriously,
picture
that's
of
how
Jim
Sarah
Norton?
Silverman got blown up. She said she called somebody
A chink on Conan.
Yeah, no, not on Conan, on Bill Maher's show, and they went nuts. And then the guy came on with Bill, and she came on a later episode, and it became like this big thing. And then Sarah got a lot of attention just by calling an Asian guy a gook or a chink or whatever.
Well, you got a lot
She
of
said
attention at
chink.
one point for having sex with Sarah, taking her virginity. So I mean,
No, I didn't get anything from
you
that.
do. You talk about Sarah. You bring her up a lot in
she
conversation.
wrote-
I
she
bring
wrote
her
about
I
it
bring
in
it
her
up
book.
never. It's in my Wikipedia. So
Other people always bring it
every
up.
hack radio DJ.
He just called you a hack.
No, I'm not calling.
I'm not a radio- I'm not a
he's
radio DJ.
He wishes he was a radio DJ.
Yeah, I wish I had that kind of money. You fucking kidding me? I live in
KOLS.
Los Angeles.
Hey,
where they don't pay
bloody.
for comedy.
Hey, it's a beautiful day. The traffic's backed up in the 405 going over the hill.
That is how I would be.
That's every day.
You
Hey,
love-
it's a beautiful day. No one leaves. That's why there's traffic here.
They're going to really enjoy editing all this peeking.
I know all these. I know.
You would think after doing 2
Peking
weekly
duck.
fucking podcasts, you know how to not scream into a microphone.
I don't though. That's my whole shtick.
That's your shtick,
or
yeah?
niche.
I'm an angry guy. I
No,
scream
I
a
yell.
lot.
I get a little. I like yelling because I can't yell on stage because there's a lot of white women who don't approve of me. You know.
I think it's a lot.
Dirty
See,
luck.
do white women get mad at you for shitting on white women?
No, they get mad at me for just because they're entitled and they're the worst people on earth for comedy. And also, I think they're probably not happy that my wife's not white because they probably think I rejected them. I have. They're hideous.
But do,
You see
do
a-
you
you see
think
a-
they want
I'm
you?
going
see
to
a
back you
fit-
up on that.
huh?
Do you think they want you?
Yeah, everybody wants me. You see a 50-year-old woman at the fucking. I mean, they should just die.
I'm with you, man. White women are going to bring about the end of the white race. That's my
No,
opinion.
they're the worst.
No white
They're
men
the
will wanna
worst. And I
fuck
hope
women.
you're listening. You're the worst. And you're thinking, me too? Yes, especially you.
You know that this is scientifically proven that the statistically white college-educated women start all of the hashtag movements online.
Yep.
Which is fucking terrifying.
You're right.
That's
Because they
terrifying.
think they got to represent everybody who can't read, black people who can't drive, Asian people.
Well,
they
this
think they
white
got to
woman-
represent all these people,
this white-
and they know how the system works because a lot of them have corporate jobs, but they're ruining corporate America too because you can't even fuck your secretary anymore.
Never
What's the
split a
point?
check either. Never split a check. I've noticed that about white women in America.
No, they want you to
Never
pay,
split a
right?
check.
They want you. They don't mind you paying.
But they want to be equal.
Me too, except when the check comes, you cunts.
Stuff too, which I think is awesome, and that's just how we are.
Yeah, I think we have some. Yeah, our conversation should be like on public platform like this because we get a chance since we know each other to go on a deeper, vulnerable level.
Yeah,
which a lot of guys really don't.
I don't know why
do.
you guys don't have your own podcast.
right.
I feel like I'm invading a conversation.
No, absolutely.
I feel like you guys should just have a podcast. This is your podcast, Ron?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, you guys should have a podcast.
I don't have time to have another podcast. This is all I have.
I'm just saying.
Yeah,
Oh, I appreciate
The
you.
conversation
sure.
between you guys, I think people would find interesting. I don't, but people
we're-
would find interesting.
You don't like none of it a
Not
little bit?
really.
not really. Okay, all right.
Well, you bring up Patrice, but I'm a huge comedy nerd, right? And one of the best stories I ever heard was Metzger talking about Patrice, and Metzger is one of the few dudes that Patrice let kind of write for him and stuff. But when he talked, they were doing one of the Comedy Central roasts, and how and you were there. See how I was there that night. That's
the greatest.
By the way, for the listeners who don't know, Jonathan Brandstein is in the room. Who it's crazy. Your office is like 2 streets over from the studio, man. And I've been in it like so many times. It's so dope. And we got to have you on the show one day to share some of these stories. Promise me you'll come back. But when Patrice really, like, I remember they said Metzger was like freaking out because of something about.
Can we get? You want to use my mic or you want to?
I don't want to. Kurt was freaked out because they sent him over there because Patrice didn't want to go. He'd just flown in. He was tired, and we were in a hotel room at the Ritz-Carlton in Marina Del Rey, and he was nervous because the head writer was freaked out that Patrice didn't want to show him anything. So they came there. They worked out on a lot of funny stuff. I mean, I sat there for the whole time. It was just the 3 of us in the room, and Patrice. Kurt's a great writer, and he's so smart, and he's a good comic, and so and Patrice liked Kurt a lot, so he felt comfortable with him. They could figure out jokes, whatever, but the best part of all that was they wrote a lot of stuff. They had a whole bunch of stuff, and when he got up the next day on the roast, he threw it all away and literally went off the top of his head.
Yeah.
Did he show the Comedy Central his jokes?
No, I mean,
he didn't.
Kurt was taking notes that he had to bring back, and Patrice is just. I mean, it's one of those things where I felt bad for both parties. I mean, Patrice was like, "I'm not showing them this. Fuck that." And then the head writer, was kind of freaking out, and he was getting a little pissed, and it was just this uncomfortable thing of I'm in the middle of it, and I was trying to get Patrice to show them something. So Kurt, I talked to Kurt. I think I pulled Kurt aside and I said, just show them some of this. And, but he got up there and he did something completely different than was written on the page.
Yeah.
So.
And Kurt said how that influenced him so much to just not get freaked out by stuff.
Yeah.
Just know that whatever they're going to say is just what they're going to say.
He always generally had a good time wherever he was performing.
Yeah.
He tried to, at least. I mean, if you look at Elephant in the Room, he's having a good time. And I was there. I mean, legitimately, he had a good time.
Did he do 2 shows that night? The Elephant in the Room?
Yeah.
Was one better than the other?
It was weird. The first one was phenomenal, and by the second one, I went in the truck outside, and Beth McCarthy, who's the director, just looked at me and goes, "We got it. I mean, this show is just bonus. I don't know what he killed both shows. I mean, he crushed it, and." By the second show, I just realized he's having such a good time out there. It wasn't even like, he's got to do this and hit this and make this work and that. But it all came super naturally to him.
Yeah. See, that's the magic of the Comedy Pop-Up podcast. Yeah. We end up with a first-hand account about Patrice.
I just love my favorite joke from that isn't when, even the funniest part is when he's like, so I've been eating good all week and tonight I can have my own lamb leg. I don't know why that just makes me laugh so much. But you know what's funnier is that his tape, the one that you put out, Mr. P, the one that he did in DC. My buddy was at that recording. He's like, you're part of my corporation. The guy was just a genius. Like the way he could say things and get away with it. It's the way that I see Burr doing it now. It's like, because it might sound mean, but it's like, no, if it's coming from, this is what I believe. You can't knock that, and you can't get mad at somebody when this is with their whole heart. What they're saying they believe. And I believe that from Patrice.
Yeah.
I believe when he says, a white woman's life is more valuable than this woman's life. That's true.
Yeah. And so many people say, what would Patrice do if he was here today? Oh my God.
He'd probably like Trump. He'd probably would.
I think so too.
I don't know him that well. I've never met him. I never got to see him live.
People would try to people would try to bait him by talking about Obama and stuff like that. They would say Obama, and he'd be like, yeah. Just because I don't think Patrice liked him just because he was black or disliked him for that matter. But it was funny because people would bring that expectation to him, and he would just turn it on its ear. So just when you think, he loved, his fish, he was a pet guy. People didn't, he's a lot of surprises.
Yeah. Man, rest in peace, Patrice, man.
You in the throat.
Yeah.
But also what I've known too by seeing, because we've performed together many times, man, your accent and the thing that makes you different, that make you feel awkward or feel like you don't belong, it makes you special on stage. Because when I watch you perform, your accent, the fact that you don't think your English is great, when I see you perform, it works because it's amazing. It really works. Have you noticed that? Are you becoming comfortable with that, or there's still a bit of insecurity about I'm not saying this word right kind of thing?
Well, sometimes, if when I do stand up, I kind of know what I'm doing. But then when I order a pizza, then that's more difficult.
You have to rehearse in the mirror for hours.
Yeah, this is an SNL sketch. Is he trying to punk me? What's happening right now?
Pepperoni.
Say it again.
Pepperoni.
Ever consider doing the?
I've tried to get you on the goddamn comedy. I think I mentioned it too. We were in New York.
Let's make it happen right here on the podcast. Let's get it booked.
I just can't sing though. Seriously, I got no talent whatsoever. I can't play any instruments. I don't have an ear for music. My son does. My son's at 4. I've been taking music lessons for 3 years. He's amazing. I don't know where he gets it from. Definitely not from me, but I just don't have it. I'm serious. It's just really bad. I would love to. I'd sing like Ace of Spades. That'd probably be easy.
We could do that. We've had
Lemmy's range. I can hit. But that's basically it. But I couldn't do.
That's all you
what
need
Dean
to do.
does. Dean does the whole fucking AC/DC Powers record. Dean should have the gig in AC/DC.
Dean is he's a real rock star, and the guy's 52 years old, and his voice sounds incredible. you just got to find what's right for your range. Like you said, you can do Ace of Spades. Like, let me give you an example. The Sklar brothers suck at singing. They're horrible. And first time they did the show, they did some crappy The Smiths song called like The Boy with the Thorn in His Side, and it was horrible. And the crowd was like, what the fuck is this? And then the next time they came back, they figured it out. They did The Distance by Cake. And it's just talking. It's just, something. That's not a line. Blah, blah, blah. And it just was the greatest thing ever. So there's something out there. We will find it, and we will be in New York in November doing New York Comedy Festival. So if you want to be a part, it's going to be fun. I don't know where the show is yet because we're just setting it up. But
I can work on it. I can work on it.
Dude, Ace of Spades would crush, dude.
Yeah, and it's 2 minutes and 46 seconds. Yeah, that's 2 minutes and 46 seconds a song. So
oh no, we'll do the extended version. We're gonna add it's gonna turn into a 5-minute epic. Something adding more verses.
Back
No,
from the
keep
top.
going,
Let's bring it back.
Florentine, keep going. How you say you love me?
Back from the top. Well, other than Ace of Spades, are there any other songs that you'd want to do?
I would want to do everyone. I want to do the whole System of Down Toxicity record if I could. No, I'm just I don't know. It's just not my I don't have it, but I will. Maybe I will try some like Motorhead.
Yeah.
I couldn't sing anything else. I couldn't do anything with range.
You can do James Hetfield. James Hetfield is It's just yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
We could dub it. We could have you lip sync. It's crazy.
Can I put you on the spot and see if you can hit the James Hetfield? No, just give me like a no.
For what song?
Just anyone. I don't know. It's just, that's James Hetfield's staple.
Most songs.
That's his staple. That like no, yeah. I guess maybe I'm wrong. Maybe we're not listening to the same Metallica.
No, I think you're thinking Jim Brewer's impression because Jim's always going, yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he does. Yeah. So he's always doing that. So then everyone's like, okay, that's what James does. But James probably doesn't do that much
He
anymore.
does it in Enter Sandman. He goes, no, yeah. Maybe it's flip from yeah, no. All right. You know what? Listeners, tweet at me and let me know.
I love the idea of him in a room. Like, should I go no and then yeah, or yeah and then no? And just like really thinking that out. That'd be epic.
I think Motorhead will be my range if I do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Motorhead would be amazing.
Because, it's just,
yeah.
no one's going to sang off key.
Yeah.
I'm doing Lemmy.
Yeah.
No disrespect to Lemmy, but, it's pretty easy.
I don't think he's taking offense to it right now.
No.
Yeah, I definitely don't.
Was there that shit happening in New York though, with like all women's mics?
They would, I would get.
Oh, you mean an open
sometimes.
Michelle? Oh yes, there's been an open Michelle. Why? Awesome. Why do you ask?
I'm trying to get booked.
The girl, like
I don't give a shit. By the way, do you?
If there's a girl, it doesn't matter. I would never really like want to go. I don't.
Sounds like it's for lesbians.
I never liked. I never liked. I wouldn't want to just test my material to one gender anyway, so that doesn't make any sense to me. But I also never really liked the idea of all women's things because it just felt like the opposite of what is. But like you would just put on a show and maybe not even mention it's all women.
When they say disparaging to women, though, I don't know what that means. Like, do you mean no woman? Like,
who
if
decides?
a person's a woman in a joke,
Let me pull up their website. Let me see
don't
what they
disparage, or do you mean don't be like women be shopping? Don't you can't do that.
Yeah, there's so many like more damaging things that
It's
you
like
can say about women.
It's like when people say we're clean, and what they mean is don't make the crowd mad. They don't mean be clean. They mean don't make the crowd mad.
If the crowd's mad.
I agree to everybody's terms. And I do whatever I want.
There just aren't like enough guidelines for all these things too. So it's like, to say disparaging to women, it's like there's no definition. There's no like who's deciding, like what. Also, what.
It's an open mic, so that.
Why am I? Yeah, it doesn't really.
Bottom
I would
line,
pay money for you to drop in there.
But it's an open mic idea, so that's why it's an. You see what I'm saying? Like it's not like.
But it's very popular.
It's in style now to be like that, but it's not popular with funny people. Who's funny that's popular with?
No, just a lot of local people.
But that you go, oh, that person's funny. Like the bottom line is, people that are funny are still funny. This other horseshit has nothing to do with anything,
Yeah, I'm trying to find out their actual bio that they have because I don't want to take anything that they're saying out of
I did want to
context.
say, okay, so the other day, going back to the other thing, my friend Ryan asked if I could do his show at the Improv, and I couldn't.
Ryan
Dune.
Oh, sorry.
And he was like, I've been asking, I couldn't find any girls or whatever, and I was already booked. And so then, you know, he tweets the show and he doesn't have any women on it. And then a girl tweets at him and goes, wow, I guess she wrote almost the exact same thing that was like, wow, shout out to all the female comedians that must have been too booked to do the show. And I was like, that's exactly what happened. And some other girl commented too. It's like, that actually really did happen.
Yeah.
And they probably don't know who you are because you're not out there being like,
Good.
I don't know
Maybe
this
you're not
girl.
funny.
Like, I don't know her, so I don't know her stuff. But it's like, I've not had a problem.
Why
I
are you
can't speak for all women, but it's
policing
like,
a fucking thing?
You
By the
don't know
way,
the background story of that. He called so many girls, like he did. And honestly, like, yeah, I don't know. We cancel sometimes. Sometimes that happens.
But why would you approach a thing from like you're gonna be the cop who's reporting them for having not a girl on the lineup?
Yeah.
There's literally no fucking person who wants to see comedy, unless you're going to see a specific person who gives a shit if there's enough of this or that in the thing, unless you want to go to like a black show or that guy plays probably all Latin fucking shows.
Or a girl, sometimes people go to all girl ones.
So yeah,
It's actually titty toucher shows. So that's what he does.
yeah, the lesbian. There's an all lesbian lesbo show. You go. Everybody can go to their thing. So it's very strange what the anger is like. They're mad because you're not putting other people in a thing, like jamming them in somewhere where you yourself. You know, all the comedy was all together when I was young and I was watching on TV. Everything was mixed.
Yeah.
I saw like Elaine Boozler and then Seinfeld. And, you know, it's like, you remember the 80s comics? I remember black guy and a white guy and a lady. I remember it being quite diverse, to be quite honest with you. And Cosby had a sitcom.
Yeah.
Like, it's not a new thing for people who aren't white. In fact, usually it's a black guy. Attell used to say that comedy's, he says to me a long time ago, comedy is always ruled by 4 ugly white guys or 1 black guy.
And one of those ugly white guys is a woman. So
yeah, and currently that was
Judy Gold.
Yeah.
Like that's who it is.
But like, well, Judy's a real comic. I mean, like, Judy's somebody she's not. She's a lesbian too. Like Judy's in the
all of the
identity
things,
group.
yeah.
She's
She's a
all the
white
things.
man. She's
But guess
a-
what? You talk to comics that are fucking have been around. She'll get respect, like
Yeah,
because she
good.
fucking does the job. Like, so
it's hard to these complaints too, like because it's very
They're
much like
open mic
you don't
complaints.
have this I always see white girls a lot of times will go like, you don't have any women on this or people of color, and it's like you're obviously talking about yourself, because I said this on Candace's podcast too, because if you're a white girl, right, and you're saying women, in your head when you think of women you think only of white women, right? So then you go people of color is a separate thing. Like you're not even acknowledging black women, this crossover, you know, because you're literally, it's like,
and you want to know what the
just
ultimate
say,
reason is?
there's not enough me on this.
Hey, listen, here's the ultimate reason that anybody's saying that there's not enough women, there's not enough this and that, because they're not sitting or coming to sit and enjoy watching comedy. They're coming because they think they should have your job and they want to watch a thing. And so now your job has become an aspirational thing where they're coming to see who the next you is going to be. They're not there to see you. They're there to see, it's like America's Next Top something.
Right.
That's why they never should have made a reality show of stand-up. That's what it cheapens it too. Like singing is like a contest for
Right.
America to vote on now. And it better be a this and it better be that. And it's got nothing to do with it because they've let everybody in on the process.
Right.
You get to watch Pete Holmes and Crashing and like hear stories that he got from, you know, see what I'm saying? Like I'm so sick of everybody getting the inside baseball behind the scenes. You know, Larry Sanders, I guess, was the first thing with a talk show. Larry Sanders with Shandling. Because I was watching Judd's thing, which is very good.
Documentary,
good, yeah.
two-parter.
And Gary Shandling is fucking brilliant. That's a guy who was too innovative to be a late. Because I was like, why wasn't he in the late night wars with Leno and Lederman?
Yeah.
Because he's that guy.
Yeah.
He was perfect. Because he's like too good. He was too much of an artist. So
do that
he had to
regular,
make a show about it so
Yeah.
he could do something new. The
Yeah.
guy couldn't stand. I love that. I think that's great.
Because he always said he hated the formulas, right? I was
Right.
actually listening to the
He hated the
Marin interview with
formulas.
him, but he was just like, it was like something punk rock about it, where even though it's like,
Yeah.
it's kind of like neurotic Jewish dude, it's like, oh, this is like the epitome of punk because he just
Yeah.
wants to go against the grain.
And he's one of those guys. It's not a clean comic. It's like a classy comic.
Yeah.
Because it's not any kind of ideological reason other than he thinks it's not classy.
And he just doesn't want to do the same thing over
Yeah.
and over.
I mean, it just shows you how great white men are and what they bring to this industry.
Well, legend has it with the start of roast battle, right? And I don't know how true this is. I've never heard this from you, but there was 2 comedians that were going to fight, and you said, no, let's settle it with a roast battle. And
Is that
you
true?
yeah.
What'd you hear? I've heard this too.
What is
but,
the what is the
that just
legend?
feels
That
ridiculous.
sounds legendary.
What is
to me.
I didn't know there was a legend. What's the legend? Have you heard a legend of roast battle?
Yeah,
What's the legend that you've heard?
That one.
Yeah, that sounds like. Is that
pretty
true?
Josh, I forget their names. Josh and Kenny Lyon and Josh. I forget his last name. They're about to fight, like physically fight. And we
Right.
were in the belly room, and like, man, just roast each other. And they started roasting each other, talking shit on the stage, just like random, stupid.
Mm-hmm.
And I just started roasting them because I was just like, this sucks. And people just liked it. And then next week did it again. I just started talking shit to somebody else.
Yeah.
It was just wait for me to talk shit. And it was called the Rell Battle.
Right.
And then when Hollywood started paying attention, then you got to get organized. And you got to change the name.
Comedy Central's roast.
Yeah. And then it becomes a whole other thing. But
What were they gonna fight about? Do you remember?
Who cares?
What was it? I want to know.
They think they're responsible for the show. Now they think, well, we're the ones who's you know what I mean? I don't know, man. But just comic angst, just fighting over whoever the fuck.
Yeah.
Right.
You know how
right.
it is.
And then so as it's progressed, like what would you like? There's like rumors around your relationship with the show.
Yeah.
Like what's true? About
What's the
that?
rumors?
Well, I guess that I don't know.
I didn't know.
Beef.
We got rumors? Okay,
was
let's
there
go.
beef between you and somebody or Moses or something like that? or?
Dude, this is great.
This is good.
That's what I'm
Name
saying.
names. Get into
No,
it.
no, it's like it's like think of any band, any group,
Right.
any musical group. You just have differences creative, what needs to happen. So for example, one person might say this needs to be more core, more comedy. All the flashy shit is kind of not working, or not, what comedy should be. One group said, well, the flash is what's bringing people there. You used to have creative disputes, and then so ultimately, I left. I went to go start the New York roast battle. Then they have the LA roast battle here. They're both selling out every week.
Yeah.
The Comedy Central came together. Everybody's executive producer, and it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? You gotta.
That's dope. Man, Tobe, I know you started. You had kind of a. Did you started in Omaha, right?
No, I started in San Diego.
Oh, in San Diego comedy scene. Yeah. And is it true? You speaking of a hustler's mentality, man? Did you start off dealing drugs?
Oh
before
yeah.
Got it. Was that before
it.
comedy or like while you started?
Before comedy, during comedy,
right now.
Yeah, I mean, shit.
You niggas buying?
I was, and shit, man. It was. I mean, I went to prison. I went to prison a couple times during my comedy career and shit.
Word.
I remember I had just came off a hot set off of BET's Comedy View, and then I got locked up, and motherfuckers was looking like, hold on, man. This motherfucking comedian, blah, blah. And then, I would tell motherfuckers, I'm gonna get out and get my shit together, blah, blah, blah. And, jail talk, motherfuckers didn't believe it. But ever since that time, I got out and I was cool and never been in trouble. But I mean, shit, I was one of the original crack dealers. I mean, shit. I was like the first blood in Omaha to go back to Omaha because I moved to Cali and I got into the shit. And then I took it back to Nebraska and started it up.
They was like, it worked because they usually red because of Nebraska.
Yeah. It just fit. My whole neighborhood was red.
Shit.
I mean, the Cornhuskers was red anyway, but Crips came, so that shit didn't fit for them.
Oh, okay.
They made it there shortly after that. But the youngsters there, they took it to a whole nother level. I mean, I was just into the making money and that type of shit. They took it into the robbing, killing, stealing, and everything.
Damn.
I remember one time I was on the road in a hotel, like up late at night watching CNN, and they was like, gang violence in Omaha, Nebraska is escalating.
Shit.
The 16th Street Victor gang, blah, 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 this and that. And I'm just sitting there like, whoa. Like, I couldn't believe it. Yeah.
So you're the freeway Ricky Ross of Omaha, Nebraska.
I mean, and it was just, at that time, I was the only one that they knew. They had a connection with me to Cali. And all they knew was like Boys in the Hood and shit like that. And then from somebody to leave there, North Omaha, and then go to California, and they had that connection, it was, that was big to the young.
That's intense. Did that lend itself to comedy in any way? You feel like the hours or like the hustle or something like that? You know what I mean? Is it similar?
It's a lot of stories. Like, I seen so much shit during that time. Like, a lot of things I've even forgotten. Like, and people remind me. All types of crazy shit.
Yeah.
Like, one time I got out of prison, and the same day, so I go to the hood where my boys was at and kicking, and I'm waiting on my son's mother to come pick me up so I can see my son. And basically, I leave and like 10 minutes later, the spot get raided. So basically, I could have went back to prison the same day.
Damn.
Like, and you know, how could you ever explain that shit?
Right.
And it was crazy. It was crazy for me because I didn't have to hustle. I mean, you know,
Yeah.
our family, my family back in Nebraska was middle class. I mean, we took vacations every year. You know, I mean, I had everything I wanted. I never needed for nothing, but shit.
The streets
I got to
was calling.
San Diego. Yeah, I got to San Diego and my relatives was hustling. And I didn't know what the fuck they was doing. I didn't even know what a cracker was. I remember I seen somebody looking crazy and I was like, man, what the fuck is wrong with this dude? And my relative was like, that's a crackhead. I'm like, what do you mean a crackhead? What's a crackhead?
Yeah.
And one time I walked in his room and I kept, you know, I knew he was doing something like, damn, you know, what the fuck? I'm going to school at this time. I'm working. I'm like, how's my relative got all this money? One time I walked in his room and he had like 100,000 cash on the bed.
Shit.
And I was like, yo, man, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And he would never put me down with it. He was like, you know, nah, this ain't for you. This ain't for you, blah, blah. So one day he finally said, you know, I kept begging him. He's like, fuck it. So he was like, how much money you got? And I was like, man, I got $25. He's like, give me your $25. I said, well, let me give you $20 and keep mine. He's like, no, give me your 25. So I gave him my 25 and he gave me like $60 worth of dope. And so he took me to the corner and I got out there and it was like 30 dudes. And he got out and he said, look, this is my relative. Y'all look out for him. Y'all watch out. So I got out there. I sold my shit in like 15 minutes. I paged him, whatever.
Damn, 15?
Yeah, 15 minutes. 15 minutes I had.
The block was hot.
Yeah, and I'm talking
He
about
the Bill Gates of crack.
No, it was so much money coming. It was 30 cats out there making money. This wasn't just me standing alone. That's how much money was coming through at the time. So I sold that shit. I hit my relative back. He brought me a 100 dub. I sold that shit. By the end of the day, I was buying 7 grams and that was it. I was hooked. And what people don't realize, when you selling dope like that, you're just as hooked as the person using it because you're addicted to the money now. I mean, like even now, gigs get canceled, shit go wrong, and I still in my mind to this day, I think like, boy, if I get a sack, I
Dang.
And, so it's you know it's an addiction that you never get over.
Right, straight up, man. We're going to a batch.
So I want to give you a compliment really quickly, Matthew. I know you're not used to these. When we first met, we were talking about a lot of the Me Too stuff and a lot of the, sexual harassment stuff that's happening in not only comedy, but the world. And you said something that we do not hear enough of. You said, wow, I've never looked at it from your perspective.
Yeah.
No, you don't realize. That's rare.
Okay.
That is rare.
How could I have insight into anyone's struggles? I am a Jewish man who passes for German in this culture. Like I had a good education. There's no way I can understand what people
if you
go
would
through.
take off that uniform and tell your German shepherds to heel, it would be easier.
That's a new one.
But you said, like, yeah, you know what? I see where you're coming from. And the other female comic and I, we were like, God, that's all it took is for someone just
I'm still very ignorant. Let's not be.
But you acknowledge in the moment what we were saying.
Mm-hmm.
I've had those Me Too hashtag, whatever conversations with a lot of male comics, and they've all found a way somehow to still defend men and the male comics that have pulled their cocks out. Like they have a way, even right now in the parking lot, right now, after we came back from bowling, yes, they're making us bowl at Big Sky.
It's part of the judging, to be fair.
That's true.
Yeah, it
That's
is.
true. I mean, if you want to move forward, you gotta
All-around performer.
Yeah.
That's what they're looking for here.
But even he, and he's a sweet guy and he's a nice comic, even he had a way to kind of go, well, like he had a way to defend. And we weren't talking about Louis C.K. or anything like that. We're just talking about like just general kind of inequality. And it's almost like a knee-jerk reaction for a guy to like, like we're kicking you in the nuts and all guys just automatically kind of flinch a little bit and cover their, their crotch. It's almost like that. Like
Which you'll never understand.
I would. I've been kicked in the vulva.
Doesn't hurt as bad. Thank you for your correct uses of vulva.
What
Thank
do you
you.
mean as bad? It's still a very sensitive
painful.
place.
Balls are literally, you have to understand, balls are
I
literally
understand.
evolution's way of saying, hey, if you lose these,
That's it.
You're as good as dead.
Yeah.
Protect these the way you would your life because this is your only connection to the gene pool and your only purpose is to contribute to the gene pool.
I think it's hilarious.
And
It's hilarious.
Let them hang out, and so they're so vulnerable. You know what I mean? Like
I think you can tell God loves women because he gave women an even chance because he made men bigger and stronger, but then he put our balls in the most kickable place on our body.
Right.
I think that was a good move.
I think so. I think you're right. What am I complaining about?
I had a conversation years ago with a guy. I think we were talking about like women's representation in science, and I think I said something as ignorant as like, well, there's not many of them. Why is that so discouraging? And he broke it down for me because he was a half Asian, half black man who had graduated from Yale Law.
Oh my
and he
God.
told me his own personal experience of showing. And this is a guy who wears. He looks like Kumail Bell. Like he looks like you buttoned up. And he was talking about his own experience. I was like, well, you can't face much of it. And he goes, I would walk into classrooms and people were like, sir, I think you're in the wrong classroom.
Yeah,
that's just he was in, and he related it to me. In a way that it still made me just try to like realize, and it was if I may expound, the way he related it to me was this. You're gonna laugh at me because this is my idea of persecution, but he said when you started stand up, were there people who looked like you? I go, no, not many. He goes, how'd that make you feel? I said, made me feel alone, and it was part of the reason I didn't start it sooner.
People that look like you. What do you mean? What do they look
the
like?
trope of stand up comedians is more schlubby. Like Dave Attell type when I was growing up, and then you have more cheesy to say. Seeing Daniel Tosh on stage, I was like, that guy looks like me.
Oh, I see.
So maybe I just thought, guys like me can't do comedy.
Okay, I see what you're saying. Like a good-looking guy.
Sure.
Yes.
Someone who puts product in their hair.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it was a revelation, and just that connection was like, oh, I should really have much more humility when considering how things may affect other people.
I see. That's interesting.
But that was the connection point.
Right. You poor thing.
I know.
It's so hard to be good looking, isn't it? What's your bit that you're the villain in every?
I look like every 80s villain.
Every 80s villain.
And Dawson's Creek and stuff.
I mean, that's even for you.
Oh.
Kasey, I mean,
there is no representation right now. Huh?
No.
We're saying this
just
before we started
in
the podcast.
America.
Yeah. Seriously.
Yeah.
No, and what was reminding me is like sometimes, even yesterday, I was walking down to the brew pub down that way, down that area, and people were looking at me like, just they react to me differently, just probably because I am a native, and it's different. But when it happens at the comedy places I do here in Montana as well, they look at me and they're like kind of like standoffish and stuff.
Really?
Oh yeah. Because like, oh, you do comedy? Like a native guy doing comedy? Like,
right.
But when I do my jokes and I do my bit and I do my stand-up, then all of a sudden they're happy and they're like, hey, how's it going? What's so fun? I'm like, it took me to do that. Like why can't I just be a normal human being walking down and
because you can't, God damn it.
Exactly. Dang. God dang. Anyways.
I have a question for you. This is racially insensitive, and I'm racially profiling you now.
You didn't come to town on a horse. That's what you're asking.
But it is parked around and on the alley.
That's
it's
why everyone
waiting.
was looking at him on the street.
Yeah, he didn't give us the full story.
Why don't you have a war bonnet on? Yeah.
Did you get into mental health to help your community?
Yep. So that's a beautiful thing too, is so that's kind of my transition thing is I went to health and human development to understand family science theories, kind of figure out our people are so family oriented. I wanted to figure out what is a way that we can actually start connecting the pieces, because throughout history, we actually became more disconnected, but yet we're still together. It's so weird. Yeah. The connections are further. Like it's not an arm's reach no more. We have to do a lot more work to get connected with you or our family. And I went into mental health to come back and help my people, but figuring I just see this recidivism going over and over, the mental health, the addictions, all this stuff. And I'm just like, what else can I do? And that was part of my frustration and my happiness is I kept seeing the same people coming through. I'm like, what can I do? And I figured I'm going to go on the road or I'm going to go speak. I'm going to make people laugh, make them forget for at least 5 minutes or an hour, however long my set is, that they can forget about their issues and just focus on this guy telling jokes. And it's the healing thing that it's not just me. So this is how I take it. As a native comedian, my personal view, it's just not me going up there trying to win a competition. It's just not me going up there trying to make some money or understand. It's me trying to create a sense of healing for the people that are not well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like for me when I'm on stage, it's like, yeah, okay, maybe I may or may not win. But what happened is this lady that's having a hard time in life, the Me Too, maybe she got sexually abused or whatever it may be, she can at least for one moment in her life or one moment in her day laugh and forget about everything. Right. And that in itself is healing. So that's how I approach all my comedy shows. Like there's somebody in this audience that's hurting.
Right. Is your wife Native American?
Yes.
Okay. And was that important to you?
Yes.
I just want to say one thing here. Yeah. I can tell I'm the evil white guy because as you're saying all this stuff, I'm just thinking Native American comedian, underutilized market right there. That's a good gimmick.
People want this is right now. The climate needs funny.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Whatever it is, whether this quote toxic masculinity is thrown around, whatever that shit means, you're gonna die boring. You're gonna die boring life, lonely, giving a fuck. Everybody's being so offended. You know what I'm saying? So remember we used to talk about. I don't know how old you are, but back in the day, people used to talk about fat people.
Mm-hmm.
It was the funniest shit ever. Like, yo, fat ass. You know, and it's you just go, yo, fat ass. That's it. You don't say he should be brutally murdered. You just eat your fat ass up. And that's as a kid in the 80s, man, we thought that shit was hilarious.
Yeah.
Like one joke, one of the classmates, this motherfucker said, your mama so remember the your mama joke shit, right?
Mm-hmm.
So in Chicago, they used to do the your mama jokes and I went to Foster Park Elementary School, and the funny shit I ever heard, dude, this motherfucker said, he said, your mama's so fat, no, he said, your mama's so dumb, she bought a donut from Dunkin' Donuts and gave it back because it had a hole in it. Now, that wasn't funny. So this motherfucker said, I can't say his name, but my classmate was like,
pay homage to him.
Right?
There you go.
My man said, your mama's so fat, every time she jump in the air, she gets stuck. Brilliant. I was like, yo, what in the fuck? We 12 years old talking like that. I'm like, yo, this nigga's a genius.
Yeah.
Like, you jump in the air and you get, oh man. I was like, what in the fuck? So ever since then, I was just like, okay. And so now, we can't even have fun.
Yeah. Well, I feel like, and tell me if you agree with this, but it's about like, everybody's looking for that safe space.
Okay.
They're like, oh, I want a safe space. But to me, like old school was like, you created your own safe space. You made that for you. Like you toughened up or you made yourself, putting yourself in situations that you wouldn't be sensitive to it. But now it's like, no, you got to do that for me.
Yeah.
You know? So that's why like these Yo Mama jokes are fun. But then now it's a controversy.
Well, it's almost like, let's just say it. Let's just say something that's probably going to offend a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
But we're comics, so if you're sensitive, we're going to offend you anyway.
Yeah.
Social media was created by a pussy. Okay.
Yeah. What makes you say that?
He was never liked. You could. When they call it cyberbullying, I've never heard of no shit like that. Like,
yeah.
Like it's a bunch of people that don't like my material.
Mm-hmm.
If they comment on my page, I'm Instagramming live now. If a motherfucker don't like what I'm saying, he's not gonna have that same fucking energy if he see me.
No, 100%. 100%.
So,
that's true.
Unless he got a group of white boys that's with him that's got chains and they thinking we finna go back to none of that shit. None of that shit. I'm going home that same fucking day. And whoever got a beef with it, he got to pursue it to the fullest. So a pussy nigga he just felt like, let me create my voice because I wasn't popular in high school.
Mm-hmm.
The girls didn't like me. The popular guys didn't want to be my friend.
Mm-hmm.
So let me create this. And then if it's almost like you throwing stones at a motherfucker and they can't fight you back.
Uh-huh.
So it's cool, man. One thing I really appreciate about you, man, I feel like whenever we talk, we never small talk.
No, we always have a good
most of my
conversation.
comedy buddies, hey, you perform tonight? No, you're not going up, but I like ask you about real stuff, and it's dope to see you grow and like watch your star rise too. You know what I'm saying? Because like I still feel like I'm fairly new to like the business side of Hollywood. Like I've always been doing stand up. Stand up is cool,
right?
But then there's another side and another layer that you get to where you start meeting people that don't look like you that can make decisions. And I feel like you've always been really good at like networking and talking to people outside of the comedy club. You know what I'm saying?
When we do hop on the phone, every few months we'll hop on. We'll stay on the phone for what, like 30, 45 minutes. We'll just catch up because luckily I don't see you enough, which means you busy.
Absolutely.
I'm busy. You busy. So like, I mean, that's always like, really nice because if we see each other too much,
I got an LA rule. I don't trust my friends. If I talk to them and they don't yawn while we talking, I'm like, you're not doing enough.
you're not working hard.
I'm always tired. I'm never not tired, bro. If you don't yawn while we talking, I'm like, you up to something. You getting good rest in LA? Something wrong.
See, I feel okay. So I do. Well, that's one thing that I had going for me when I got here because I came out of corporate. So like my networking jargon was like, I just changed the product. I was selling the product. Now I am the product. So like, how do I sell myself?
Yeah.
Whereas like I had to learn how to maneuver in comedy because like the TV stuff came a little quick for me.
It did.
So now I go, okay, how do I be respected amongst my peers and dudes I was already fans of, like yourself? And so I ended up like trying to go backwards really because I used to talk to Lil Rell about it. He's like, we all want what each other have.
Yeah.
I want to be more recognizable in comedy. We trying to get on TV.
Yeah.
And so like, I mean, it's both necessary for what we want to do.
Yeah.
And it's like, but everybody's path is different. So, but it's been good, man. You know,
was
it's
the transition tough because you didn't expect it to happen when it did? You know what I'm saying? Like you have this dream in your head. And like for me, I feel like, I won't say I'm a late bloomer, but I feel like it happened when it's supposed to. Like,
100%.
Like I got great news. I just booked a pilot for Nickelodeon, 20 episodes. And it's like, even though I felt like thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Man. Even though I felt like it came late, I know who I am as a person. Because I have buddies who blew up when I first got here and they were really young. And now they're nowhere to be
can't find
seen. And I heard the best quote, man. I was talking to Danny Green. I don't know if you know who Danny Green is, but he said...
Not from the Spurs.
No. He's a comedian. He's an OG comedian. But he said he was talking to Lawrence Fishburne. He said the goal is to be warm for 20 years and not hot for 5.
100%.
Warm for 20 years instead of hot for 5. I know people who had that hot 5. 80% of LA is hot
fives. For real.
Hot 5 had a good season. They always piss it off because of pride, ego, pissing on somebody who helped you out, or not being prepared.
Man, it's always. Remember that there's a little blurb on like a skit on J. Cole's album. I want to say it's a Sideline album, and it's like a little blurb of Jay-Z going, I got to stay on my game because like there's a kid right now eating cereal, reading the back of the box that's like making them words rhyme.
Yeah,
he coming for me.
Yeah,
and I go like, what you gonna do? He goes, I'm gonna sign him.
Right.
I can't let him beat me.
Right.
I got to control his career.
Yeah.
So it's like, I mean, it's like you can't get booked from the couch. You can't be funny sitting at home.
Yeah.
So it's like every night I'm like, man, I should stay in tonight. I got to go out. Because if I don't show up, that kid gonna hop on that mic and they're gonna be like, man, this dude is fire.
Right.
And that kid taking my spot.
Absolutely.
I can't let that 28-year-old go to work right now. I got to keep him out the kitchen. We all want everybody to win.
Yeah.
But it's like, but now I can't be lazy.
So
I wanted to add this to Zainab. I'm legit a fan of you. Like for real. I haven't had a chance to watch you grow and hang out with you. Even when we went to, what was it, Curacao? Did we go to Curacao together?
Oh yeah, we did. Oh my.
We had so much fun.
But wait, sidebar, really quick. I was so drunk. Only because they was giving me like the island punch, and I didn't know how strong the island punch was, and I didn't eat any food I had.
Wasn't you like new vegan too?
Yeah, like an 8-hour flight.
She was like new vegan. She was eating crackers and celery sticks the whole trip.
So there was nothing on
drinking
your
liquor.
Yeah,
drinking liquor.
I wasn't drunk because I had 9 cups. I was drunk off of like a cup and a half or something. And Ron was like, Z, you good? Yeah, like every step of the way, all the way up into, and I was like, I swear when I peed on myself.
Okay. I like the side of you. It's awesome.
But when I woke up the next morning, I was like, oh my God, thank God for Ron G. I swear to you, I never told you that, but
Word.
You're a prophet.
Because she was the only lady on the trip, and I'm like, just, dudes, we reckless on the road. You know what I'm saying? But I was always making sure she was good. Like she was the sophisticated vegan lady.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But I'm glad that you, I didn't even know that. Thank you. Which leads me to my next question. So one thing I really admire about you is like, you're always a lady to me. Like you're always a lady. You kind of remind me like, this is my example, like a young Angela Bassett of comedy. What I think of you. You know what I'm saying? Because you're always a lady, you're always in your lane, and you got this posture and this air about you that
class act.
Super classy, but she's always a lady on stage. Because sometimes I see female comedians and they try to do what the dudes do. You know what I'm saying? But she flexes intellectually. You know what I'm saying? She always reminds people that she's a lady, and it's like she's a walking black girl magic poster on stage. And I think it's so dope because I don't see that kind of softness and delicateness on stage.
Can I add to that? I haven't known her as long as you, but I guess this is old school. But when you say what you say, it's an old saying that shows you were raised well. Obviously, you were raised by either a good woman or a good dad or a family. Because
you don't see it. It's almost like how people see me sometimes. I don't see it, but for like what I think of you, I think you're so dope, and I'm glad that like I try to tell young female comedians like use your voice, be a lady, like use like you have a platform and you have feelings and emotions and things that men never go through.
Yeah.
Why not use that as your platform? Don't try to do what we do. Do what you do because it's gonna make you special.
Did you get that from a good mom and dad? Or
Yeah, I mean, I feel like
I was close. Was that right?
I feel like I was raised right.
That's what it sounds like.
You were.
I feel like I was
You were.
raised right.
Yeah.
But two
Not that you can't turn up, but I get it. Yeah, you peed on yourself. But you're still a lady. She peed on herself with her legs crossed.
Just a little bit.
She had her legs crossed when she did it. I'm still a lady. I might smell like
I got up and cleaned it all up.
I might smell citrusy, but I'm still a lady.
Might smell the celery in there. But, yeah.
I think two things. I think one, just when you're a comic and you want to be good, just everybody, regardless of your gender, you sort of try and be whatever you think is what people want you to be. You want to be what you think works. So there's a lot of comedians that do that. But I think women, there's something that's so liberating about stand-up comedy. You create this platform for yourself and you get to be and do whatever you want. And I think sometimes women, because in the society, we live in a very sexist society.
Yeah.
And that's just the reality. And I think sometimes we at the first steps of our liberation is I can be just as sexual as you. I can be just as vulgar. I can be just as free. I can be just as, masculine. I can be just as aggressive. And I think whether that's their truth or not, I think that's just the first steps. Comedy is like about finding,
it's exploration.
Your voice. So I'm never, my goal is never to I'm gonna be a classy lady. I'm just doing me.
Man, so we're almost to the end of our show, but this is a special part of the show that I'd like to do. I don't have a name for it yet, still work in progress. But so I'm going to ask you guys some questions, man, and there's no right or wrong answer, and you can answer however you feel, short, long, or whatever. So don't be scared, Ismo. Like, why are you asking me questions?
Scared
you don't know me.
Scared to embarrass yourself, right?
Yeah, he's like, why are you asking me questions? Did I do something wrong? That's so funny to me. All right, cool. Here we go. I feel like this is going to be very interesting. All right, cool. First question. If you can do coffee with one person, dead or alive, who would it be?
Alive.
I knew it was going to happen.
Having coffee with a dead person, that would be like, even the smell, that would just be terrible. I watched lots of Walking Dead, so I think they might be able to have the coffee. But...
That's like the best answer ever. I think that's like the best answer.
But the good part of the dead person was that they wouldn't ask any questions.
I'm crying, dude. I'm crying. Oh, jeez. Oh, fudge. All right, cool. But I can't get back to the question. No, I mean, but like an entertainer, anybody you've admired, family member, dead or alive, would you want to do coffee with?
Yeah. Well,
no, basically, no. Like this just shows how fucking European. No one. We don't want to talk to. Can I have the coffee by myself?
I can just have the coffee.
Yes, just
with cream. I'd like it with cream.
With cream, I'd like it with cream.
That was the funniest answer ever.